together as I walked down the steps and looked from the director to the man sitting next to him. Max? Why had Prince Maxwell of Lilaria come to my practice? We'd met at his older brother's wedding and shared a dance, but nothing more. Just visiting the area, perhaps? Checking up on some of the newer royals? That seemed unlikely, though. From all accounts, Max tended to stay away from royal duties. The last couple of years had been a whirlwind, and I still couldn't imagine why a prince would be at my rehearsal, much less in England, where I was busy building a career and new life for me and my son. When my grandfather had been contacted by the Lilarian royal family to tell him he was from a long-lost line of royalty, I had been certain it was a ploy to get his bank account number. Not that it would have done anyone much good. The old man had been broke, and barely able to keep his heat turned on. I smiled at the thought of my grandfather's face when he found out it was real. Lady Meredith. Max unfolded his long frame and stood up before holding his hand out to me. That was a beautiful performance. His warm fingers wrapped around mine before lifting my hand to his mouth. His bright green eyes looked up at me from under his light brown hair. For a half-second, I almost swooned before yanking myself back to reality. A handsome face was the perfect shield for a player's heart. I knew that from experience. Knew all too well how quickly that smile could turn into a sneer. Thank you. I smiled at him, feeling the eyes of the people still in the auditorium on us. What brings you to town? I was here for a gallery opening. Oh, do you have a piece on display? I smiled. I'd heard that the prince was a magnificent artist, but hadn't had the chance to see any of his work. I do. I'll have to stop by and see it. I bit my lip and berated myself for cutting him off. I had a bad habit of doing that when I was excited. I didn't know you liked art. His eyes lit up for a moment, and his serious expression brightened. I hoped that meant he wouldn't hold my rudeness against me. I appreciate art in all its forms. I smiled. I also appreciated the way his jacket and shirt stretched across his broad shoulders. The director cleared his throat. I believe His Highness had something to tell you. Yes. Max frowned. Is there somewhere we can talk privately? I blanched. Why would he need to talk to me alone? Is something wrong with Marty? Adrenaline filled my veins, and I fought the impulse to run from the room looking for my son. No, I'm sure he is fine. Max touched my shoulder, and I was shocked by the warmth in his expression. God, for a minute I thought you came to tell me he was dead. My heart froze, and I looked up into his green eyes. Grandfather? Max's fingers on my shoulder tightened. I'm sorry, Meredith. No. Oh, no. No. Tears filled my eyes and my legs grew weak. Was he alone? My grandfather had been the one person I could always count on. Always. I knew that he would be there for me no matter what. When I had found out I was pregnant at 17, he hadn't freaked out or been angry, unlike my dad. Instead, he had held me while I cried and told me how beautiful and smart any child of mine would be. To think he had died without someone by his side broke my heart. Or worse, with only my drunken father to ease his passing. He passed away in his sleep. Max moved to me with a gentle tug, so that I was sitting in one of the audience chairs. The doctors believe it was his heart. I squeezed my eyes shut and took a ragged breath. Where I had felt whole and centered merely a moment ago, my entire world had been taken and turned upside down. The very floor on which my life was planted had been torn away. My grandfather was gone. I need to see Marty. I scrubbed at my eyes, not caring that the mascara I had worn that day was smeared across my cheeks. I have to be the one to tell him. I have a car out front. Max stood and held his hand to me. I took it, barely registered.